What's up, Space Pirates? This is your Admiral, the obviously awesome Dr. Disaster, and reading PR spin from companies like Sony is absolutely hilarious because these people will never admit defeat no matter how many Concord or Fairgames situations they create for themselves.
Did you guys give up? Have you had enough pain?
Never! As an example of what I'm talking about, look at this headline here from Eurogamer. Sony remains committed to diverse and resilient live service games, including forthcoming Marathon and Fairgames, despite high-profile failures. They are simply unwavering in their commitment to this live service crap, no matter how many times they are told by gamers,
I mean, you've got to let it go and move on, man.
But that isn't how Sony works. For them, and corporations like them, failures aren't something to be learned from, they are something to be ignored, and spun by their PR firms into some kind of a win. We all know that one of the biggest future failures from PlayStation is the Bungie turd, Marathon. But according to Sony, it's showing strong, early engagement.
That's bullshit. Stop lying.
This declaration was made in a business presentation recently, and frankly, it ought to be considered lying to investors, and it ought to be actionable. It ought to be something that their asses can be prosecuted for, if you ask me, because let's be real here. The engagement that Marathon is getting online is certainly a thing that's happening, but it's the bad kind. The kind where people are calling them out for stealing art, for making an ugly and bland-looking game, for having boring and uninspiring gameplay. So, Sony is fibbing to make their game look better, and they know it because according to this article, it appears that they are tacitly admitting that the game may be delayed from its September release date, though they are drawing a line in the sand and saying it won't be pushed any further back than March. In other words, these people are simply pretending their asses off that this game has legs, but gamers can see right through them, and we know they're full of shit.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now, Jack and shit. And Jack left town.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to follow me over on Rumble, where I've started uploading some content as well. Also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. I'm working on a Space Pirate cartoon, which channel members will have first access to. We can't just complain about the state of our culture, we have to create alternatives. So, if you want to support that sort of thing, consider a channel membership for as little as $5 per month. Anyways, let's dive on into this Marathon shit that's going on. Sony, and more specifically their studio Bungie, have been completely humiliated by the way that the Marathon rollout has gone down. Not even the game journalist who wrote this article here from The Game Post can ignore this fact, even though they definitely want to in this article in order to protect their big corporate master. But let's read some of the article and get a sense of what's being said about Marathon. Bungie's Marathon is targeting a release by March 2026, with Sony saying the game is already seeing strong early engagement. Bungie's next big project, Marathon, is back in the spotlight after Sony called out the game's strong early engagement during its latest business presentation. The game has been at the center of the conversation for months, first with the reveal, then a closed alpha test, and lately some big controversies. And then they list a bunch of the controversies that have gone down, including how the leadership at Bungie ignored suggestions from developers that the game not be a solely PvP experience, how developers have come out and said that leadership at the company is toxic, and there are plenty more controversies going on, but let's read from here where it says, all of this has left the Marathon fans wondering, is the game in trouble? There's been a lot of talk about possible delays. Reports have popped up saying that Bungie has paused its June 2025 marketing for Marathon, which only added fuel to the fire. Now, we finally have some official word in Sony's new business segment presentation for 2025. Herman Holst, the CEO of Studio Business Group, singled out Marathon as one of the company's most important upcoming live service games. He called it an innovative and bold take on the extraction shooter genre, making it clear Sony still sees a lot of potential in the project. Sony is seeing strong early engagement for Marathon. This comes directly from the new presentation slides and the segment itself, where Sony shows Marathon right alongside hits like Helldivers 2 as a major focus. And you gotta love how in that paragraph we just read, the person who wrote it proves that they are indeed a classic game journalist, because they believed Sony's statement, parroting what they said unquestioningly, that they are seeing strong early engagement. But anyone who has spent more than even half a minute on X or YouTube perusing the conversation around this game will know that the so-called strong engagement has just been people completely ragging on it. But let's read some more where they talk about the release date, which does not seem like it is particularly firm for Marathon. The article reads, as for the release date, the presentation lists the game for fiscal year 25, which runs through March 2026, but earlier this year, Bungie officially confirmed a September 23rd, 2025 release date for Marathon, so as it stands, that's still the date to watch. Of course, with the release window extending into early 26, it leaves the door open for another delay if more development time is needed. It's also worth mentioning that, according to reports, Sony had canceled paid marketing plans for Marathon in at least one international market. This led to plenty of speculation about what's really happening behind the scenes and if the game's going to be delayed, but as of now, neither Sony nor Bungie has officially announced any changes to the release plan. But here's the thing, it's certainly possible that Marathon does get pushed out at its originally announced date, but if Sony was sure about that, if September looked like the likeliest release time frame, the presentation would have said that, wouldn't it? If they were as confident in the game as they are claiming to be, then they'd have listed the date as September 23rd, because they would want you to know. They wouldn't want you to be able to forget. But this nebulous fiscal year 2025 verbiage simply leaves the door open for them to do all kinds of things with the release date. And if I were an investor, this would tell me everything I need to know about the direction of this company. That despite all their bravado about how confident they are in all of their live service slop, they don't seem to have much confidence at all. And that's because they aren't retarded. Sure, a lot of the people working at PlayStation might make some stupid decisions, but they can see what people think of these games. They just have to pretend that it's not happening long enough to try to fool investors and gullible gamers into giving their crap a try. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of Marathon, Bungie, and Sony into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.